Now, let me put this disclaimer out there. I literally ran into a woman that did that exact same thing when I opened the door for a lady that had 3 kids. Huh?
I want to hold my hands and my feet up. I had the same experience. Go ahead.
Wow. Yeah. First date. This was in Atlanta. The first date. She was like, why you open up the door to fire? Well, she had her hands full, but this, and this. Well, she the one that had all them kids. That's her problem. I said,
whoa.
You know what? You are single for a reason. I already can see it, like Brother Man did. But yeah, I mean, oh no, but.
What's up, everybody? It is Dev of the Iron Father, where we are all about men recalibrating, restoring, and thriving. I'm joined today by the Roundtable again. We are back with another show. Got my man Derek in the house and my man Eddie Vance.
Hey.
Yo.
What's happening, fellas? What's happening? Y'all like my shirt? My girl brought me this shirt back when she was gone. Derek, I'm sure you can appreciate it.
Sexy ball.
That's right. We gonna represent.
Okay. I didn't get mine in the mail yet. Okay.
As long as she ain't buying you one, that's the main point.
I'll take a link.
I ain't sharing. So I'm stingy like that. But on that note of sharing, I'm just gonna jump right into this. On that note of sharing, we're going to have to go ahead and start going over some of the comments on some of our videos, because on that note of sharing, we had some guys respond back. Derek, it was the roundtable discussion that we had about a woman's body count. Now, it was 2 things that we talked about just overall in our shows. And one, we have coming up that I'm going to release that was talking about a dude's size, and we were talking about a woman's body count. And it's funny because we talk about it like, basically guys shouldn't be worried about X, Y, and Z, and kind of, whatever. But, we went into detail, and the main reason I brought it up was for just this reason. I think for the 3 of us, it may be some areas that we're like, man, been there, done that, whatever, it's past, don't worry about that stuff. But, as they say I'm just going to say most guys out there, especially looking at some of the Reddit comments and whatnot, man, these are issues that most dudes are still worried and concerned about. So we might have to do a little education, if you will, and talk about some things. And we're going to do some education on BDSM as well, because Derek, you made a good point the last show that we might need to define some terms that we may just throw out there. But I'm going to present that in another video. First, let's go over some of the comments that were made before we get to the main topic on about caring about a woman's body count. Now, in that video, we pointed out that a man really should not care. And my point was that a guy that's 50 and over, and I think that's a key part of this, a man that's out here dating again, that's 50 and over, he really shouldn't care, because if he does the math, if he simply does the math, if a woman, let's say, had been single, she got married, and then she was single at 30, and so from 30 till 50, she just sleeps with 1 additional guy per year. That's 20 right there. I mean, hey, I went to a public school early in my life, so I think I got that math correct. So these dudes were like, all right. One comment was, no, only smart men ask. When you ask, you don't expect her to tell the truth. You expect her to get angry, insecure, and give off other red flags that were still hidden up until now. Please ask. If her reaction is violent and powerful and angry, it tell you more than you imagine. If she takes it easy and gives you a number, it's still a lie, but she is not too far from far from the truth. Got kind of truncated there. So Derek, what do you say on that one in that response to it?
That doesn't even make sense. I'm gonna ask a question, but it doesn't matter what the answer is, she's lying. So why ask the question? If you think she's gonna lie, then what's the point? That's a ridiculous response to me. I don't know. I'm sorry. If say the reason why, other than she's lying, just say, well, why is it not important, or why is it important to you that you get the body count? Let's talk about the facts of it. Don't talk about the ambiguous stuff about, oh, she lying regardless. You don't know that. You just don't know. What difference does it make? What is your point of wanting to know. What is it going to do for you?
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you why they want to know, and I'm assuming this is his reason. And before I go on to that, let me advocate for the person who made the comment. Maybe he's saying it's kind of like a lie detector. You don't necessarily know the truth, but her response is going to tell you at least that the number what it might be. Now that doesn't answer your question of why you want to know, but I guess he's still saying I can like judge her response to tell me if it's high or low.
Oh, he's an oracle now?
I guess so.
Come on now, what difference do it make? You want to ask the question to judge a response, you should come up with a different question. At a certain age, it doesn't matter what your body count is.
Yeah. The guy sounds like I'm gonna ask you a question and get an answer to some other question I didn't ask you. What?
Yeah.
Make it make sense.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Sound like single mother parenting right there.
Oh. Well, you know, the only time his mama did it was when he had him. So when she had him, I'm sure that's her story. But I don't know. Maybe he's saying she lying. I don't know. But you know, no disrespect to him, because again, I know this is how guys think. Now, I did some research, so you didn't have to.
Okay.
I went and did a deep dive on this whole notion of body count. And you know, I tried to use some AI to pull together kind of a meta-analysis on some of the research that's out there, and went back and forth. I will say something interesting that I did find out. And that was, Derek, exactly what you said, but actually what he said as well. According to the research, women are going to lie. And they're going to lie depending on the methodology of the study. So there was an example, because that was something I asked a question about. When you look at the methodology, if the woman is being interviewed directly by someone, she's going to give a lower number. If she is on a computer and she's taking it, she will give another number that's going to be a little bit higher. And there was only one study that was out there, and it was on college students. And what they did, I guess they told the ladies that, you know, this is like a lie detector test. Then the number really jumped, because they were really like, uh-oh, I'm really going to get caught, which goes to show that you don't really know the number, because on average, and the parameters of research in that particular study, the number jumped up as much as 70%. Now, that doesn't mean we should multiply every woman who tells you a number up to 70%, but it does give an indication of a trend that if you ask that, like the guy said, they're going to lie.
Well, but the thing is that when we do these studies, I got a few problems with the study scenario.
Mm-hmm.
How does the person taking the results of the study know the true answer?
You don't.
To say that they're lying.
You don't.
So the other one is, well, when they do a study, they have a tendency of doing X, Y, and Z. Well, we're talking about talking to a person face to face and not on a study. What's the validity of that?
In this case, that was a study, meaning that they asked the women. So you got a group and you say, all right, I'm talking to you face to face. How many men have you been with? And actually they gave the numbers. The number came out to like 2.4 or something like that. Then they asked ladies, well, how many men have you been with on a computer? Then the number was like, oh, 3 points. The average came out to 3 point something, because you can't sleep with 3 point something guys unless we talking. We're not going to talk about other things. And then
did they ask the same people?
That's my assumption that they did, which is why they said the number steadily increased. Now, I have seen this slightly done on a video version where they asked women on camera, and it was really interesting. And I wish I could find that video of how the answers go on camera, where you ended up getting answers like, how many men have you been with? 3. It's like, oh, you had to think that long and hard about 3. But to your point, I think, and I have to point out, with men, they found that men ended up going over just slightly. So there seems to be a little bit of truth to that kind of saying that with a woman, whatever number she gives you, assume is higher. With men, whatever number they may give you is probably about right, and it actually may be a little bit lower, especially if you're talking to young guys.
I'm sorry. My logic doesn't allow that to happen, because where did you get the number to say that they're lying? Did they say, no, I was really doing
Right. You will probably have to be doing the same sample for the same women to know it's a lie. Yes.
Right. And or better yet, let me go ahead and get some receipts and I'll double check that number. I mean, it's just the validity. If you ask me my opinion, that's my opinion of me. Who can tell me otherwise?
You don't. Which leads to.
But yet you're lying.
which leads to. Go ahead, Ed.
What is the purpose of even asking the question anyway? First of all, I don't want to get lied to, especially over a question like that. Lie about something that's going to make me happy. That's not going to make me happy. I don't understand what's the big deal about it. Once you hit a certain age and a certain point, everybody been ran through.
Well, all right. So here to answer your question, Ed, one dude said, you don't have to ask. A woman with a high body count will have traits and tendencies. Not wanting a woman with a high body count is not about ego. The higher the count, the less likely she will be able to pair bond, which will likely lead to her filing for divorce. There's been studies on this. Eddie, what you say on that one first?
First of all, why are you trying to get locked down with a woman with a high body count showing all of this type of stuff? First of all, why as a man at this point in time are you even trying to get in a relationship? Get into a steady hey, I'm sorry, I'm just gonna be honest. It's about feed me and leave me alone.
Okay, that's one perspective. Derek?
I don't know. I'm trying to figure out what was the original question.
Well, he was still answering the video that we did. That was his response. But he's saying, and I know his talking point. He's using the classic red pill talking point. A woman with a high body count cannot pair bond. She's more likely to file for divorce.
When you say pair bond, you mean she's not going to sit up there and try to have a meaningful relationship, everlasting relationship with someone at the age of 50 and above?
No, I think actually it goes back into what you just said with the previous study. How do we define it? Because you can only measure a pair bond. You can't measure whether a woman breaks up in a relationship. How could you research that? You can only measure it of basically saying if a woman has this body count, this many women with X amount of numbers, they file for divorce this much. So you really can only measure it by filing for divorce, depending on the number of people she's been with.
When we say pair bond, I suppose I'm trying to understand the definition of pair bond.
Very good question, because what is the definition of pair bond? You only can define it by really the result, which is she going to stay in the marriage? That's it. Because you're right. You're exactly right. What's pair bonding? Because is pair bonding physiological? Is pair bonding psychological?
Well, but the thing is, it sounds like an oxymoron, because bonding itself saying stay together.
That's true. Well, he's saying she can't stay with somebody, I guess. She can't stay with another guy. And this is a key. Now, I will throw this in there with you.
Okay. Maybe I'm understanding what you're trying to say. You're trying to say because they have so many partners, they don't know how to be monogamous.
Yes. But again, you can only measure monogamy in terms of a marriage, because you can't measure whether she cheats. You can't measure whether she, let's say, broke up with the guy at 6 months. You only can measure a woman's or a man's, and either as well. You can only measure the number of men she'd been with when she got married, and then did she get divorced, and look at those two figures.
Go ahead.
Then what is the purpose of the survey?
Because again, there's the belief.
There's no facts.
Well, right. I won't necessarily. Well, you're right, because we already established with the first one, you don't know whether she's telling the truth anyway.
It's all a guessing game. I'm sorry. I lead by the laws. Whoo, boy, I'm telling you, hot is hot, cold is cold. I don't understand.
Right.
Is this that poly stuff? Is this poly?
No. That's the opposite. It's the exact opposite.
Okay, so this is how I look at it. Now, to a certain point, we know if a woman is experienced in the bedroom. Mm-hmm. Therefore, they had to get the experience from some other folks. That's the best you got. I mean, legitimately, and you can't put a number with that. You like, look, I like what you do to me. And that's it. If it's to a point, well, you know what? I need you. You don't know enough. You know, I don't want no virgin. Right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Or do you say that at 50? Because it's a lot of 20-year-old guys that would love to have. It's a lot of 40-year-old dudes that are going back trying to get that 20-year-old girl that, you know, they going overseas, let's say, to find a woman that, you know, she still may be a virgin and I've done much.
And granted, I get that. And for me, I learned long ago, and I mean real long ago, I don't want a virgin.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't. I can't. You get the first one, it's like, yeah, okay, I got one. Now what? I don't want another one. That ain't gonna do me. That's not gonna keep me coming back.
All right, let me play devil's advocate again, though. Would you want a virgin for a wife that you could teach?
No. Okay. No.
Thank you.
Okay, let me ask this. Would you want a prawn star, because we can't say the word, would you want a corn star as well, if it doesn't matter?
Well, I mean, you only got giving me you giving me two extremes, and they're at the other end of the spectrum. I don't want that either.
All right, why not?
Because there's a level when you, for me, sex is also a level of connection. If you got so many sexual partners and so forth, you being the how did you call it, the magic genie or whatever the last time you said it. All right, you on that spectrum, that's completely different. You doing that like breathing. You've run through so many different types of activities. Whatever move I got, you've experienced it over and over again. I can't surprise you. I like to be able to surprise somebody. But again, I'm not looking for no virgin.
But see, when they're the magic genie, that's their job. That's their job. So you're supposed to become an expert in your craft and inside your career. I wouldn't expect anything different. Now, I would experience that they have, but I wouldn't wipe it up and keep it next to me, cut it up. That wouldn't happen. So, and I also would not want a virgin. I'm an experienced older man, and I want somebody who's either equally yoked or I can teach you some things, but I prefer equally yoked. The rest of it
to some degree.
Yeah, to some degree. Okay. I want a happy medium. A happy medium, I'm all right, because I've been a side dude before, and hey, I don't mind sharing.
Well, hey, let me help you with something. Now, from a male's perspective, we got ego involved in this. So one of the things we want to do is make sure that we can throw a move on a woman that they like, you know. So I can't say equally yoked, because I don't, if I'm gonna bust a move on somebody or whatever the case is, I want them to appreciate it and like, woo, I want that again, as opposed to, I did that last week, I did that a couple of years ago, and my ego's still involved.
Oh well, my ego is a little bit different. My ego done checked out because I don't care. If you had,
but remember, if you were looking for a wife, though,
I don't care.
What? Remember, if you were looking for a wife, now I think it is different on a jump off and a wife.
Yeah, if I'm looking for a wife, we're gonna figure some things out together, and we're gonna have our own little special moves. But as far as
that's what I'm saying.
As far as it goes, busting their backs out, no, you straight. I'm gonna get mine. I'm going to sleep and watch the football game or something like that. I ain't got time for all that. Good luck.
Because I mean, I think that's probably part of the conversation again, especially for over 50 dudes. That again, we're talking about guys out here dating again. There is that difference of if you catch her when she's just gotten divorced and she's out here. She could have been with just her husband, and now she may be with you. Then that's different from a woman who may have done a whole lot in college. She got divorced, and now she out here again doing a whole bunch of stuff. Which one you wife up may be totally different, because that number could have increased, and that's something that I ended up kind of digging into deeper, which goes again to, fellas, you have no idea what the number is. Because a lot of you guys think that, I know it hasn't been run through because it was this big. But if it has, it's this big. And you are totally 100% wrong, because when a man says that, that tells me he doesn't have much experience with women. He doesn't have much experience at all.
Hello.
So that's not going to be when you talk about, I can tell. Well, how can you tell? Maybe you can tell with whatever limited number of women that you've been
there
with.
was a notch in the side of the walls when I went in there. I counted 1, 2, and 3.
One of my favorite songs. All I can do is wish you luck.
That's it. And that's what, and this is where we got Reddit posts, things like that, where guys are getting their feelings hurt because they are goofy enough to ask the question, and she may just say, "Oh, well, not that many," or she may even give a number, and then the next thing you know, he's like, "I was on her computer and I saw her account, and then I saw a video and another video and some pictures, and it was more guys than she told me, or she did things that she told me she's never done." And that's the one thing about now living in the 21st century. That couldn't have happened with your mama. That can happen right now with these chicks.
VHS was a beast back in the day.
Now that's true. VHS. Yeah, there was a story about a dude finding some VHS tapes, and it was like, wow, she said she'd never do that with me. And I just found a video of her doing it with two guys at the same time.
But it wasn't him, so he didn't do it with him.
Right. But she wasn't, because she was special with her husband. So, you're right. And that leads me to the last one that was said. I'll throw this one in. This guy said, "I'm a pass on that. Nobody wants to get with a woman their friend might have been with. This is how the situation happens. And then when the guy don't want to stay with her because she was with someone he knows, it's his fault. SMH, shake my head."
Let me take this one, please.
All right, go ahead.
Oh, sir. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Let me take this one. Hey, Derek, I got this
sir.
chick right here. You see her? Hey,
Yeah.
you know her? Have you messed with her
Yeah.
before? You have? How was it? Was it worth it? Hey, well, I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna take it down to thanks, man, for letting me know. Appreciation, pat on the back. Now she's not gonna be my wife, but she's
right. Let's put them in the. Now you got categories.
That's right.
Right.
Yeah.
The pass around, cool. Puff pass, as Chris Tucker used to say. Right? No. I mean, we all got categories. Now the reality is, like you said, if I know she's gone around the neighborhood and my buddy then told me some stories and this, that, and the third. Well, yeah. I mean, come on, you got a reputation at this point. Yeah. So nobody wants anybody that has a bad reputation. Period. Whether it's sex or anything else. Mm-hmm. All right. So let's put that in perspective. So you want somebody that you can take home to mama, if you will. And 50 years old, we don't care about that, but you get the idea of you want somebody that you can treasure. And if you got a bad reputation, there's no treasure there. One man's garbage is another man's treasure all day long. But if there's a reputation of certain things, unseedy things or whatever, we can pass on it. It's all good.
And you got to be a strong enough man to be able to pass on it and accept, hey, your homeboy's pass, or you're going to wife her up and be sitting there miserable because you're worried about what everybody else think about you.
Right.
It's about the type of man that you are. If you can accept her body count by not even caring what it is and worrying about what you're doing with her, hey, it's fine. Like you say, you see the whole tendencies. You know what the whole tendencies look like? The category. And they all have to fit into them.
And you hit it real good. I'm thinking it's more or less what it is it's the ego thing, and then it becomes a jealousy thing. Yeah. I'm not a jealous guy, so I'm like,
no, whatever. Yeah, okay, sounds great.
Well, yeah. I thought what was interesting on his comment is that he ended up pointing out, well, somehow her body count has to do something with friends. I'm like, that's a variable that we didn't even talk about and we didn't even throw in. What?
Because that happened to him.
Exactly. Yeah. But then you know what? I would argue and say, again, I don't know what's going on out here with these young guys, but I think if we go back to when I was a teenager and when I was young, we'll say 80s and 90s, usually the first ladies we'll say ladies just for the censors, for the algorithm, the first time you was with somebody, especially if you were, let's just say under 18, I bet you another dude in school was with her as well. And I bet you probably knew that guy. And then when you went to college, I bet you shared with, maybe it was the guy that your roommate, another dude in your class. So since when did a dude think that, well, he's exclusive and nobody in the friend circle? Now, maybe again, it's different now, but I know it was that way when I was growing up.
And here's another category. Well, a BJ ain't the same as regular sex.
Oh, you sound like Chasing Amy.
Oh,
I've done that a few times, and you know, and blah 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 blah. And then there's a third one. Well, I only had it from the back. I didn't have it from the front. So I mean, come on now, that's just too much.
What I have a problem with is a lot of these younger dudes, and even some of the older dudes too, they forget about their manhood. I'm sorry, my grandfather, my father, we are men. If you can't reach down there between your legs and grab something down there, there's something wrong. I don't know what you're holding your purse. I don't know what's going on with you, but you need to get your stuff together. Certain things don't matter when you're a man. Cut it out.
Now,
cut it out.
One of the things I ended up finding is in terms of where body count does become relevant. Now, we'll leave the judgments out of this, but I ended up asking, and I asked one of the gentlemen, first of all, one thing that gets lost in this conversation is what's high? Because for a man that, let's say he was, you know, younger, or let's say he was always in church or whatever, high for him may be 2. For a guy that may have been, you know, doing his thing, maybe he was in college and a frat running through him, high to him may be 50, because he know what he was doing and he know what a lot of the ladies he was with was doing. So he might be like, well, as long as it hasn't been this. And Derek, that's kind of what I got from you, where you said, no, we got an extreme over here and we got an extreme over here. I'm going to fall somewhere in the middle of that. So I think every man needs to quantify what's high to him.
Good point.
Number 2, when going through, when you start looking at the variables that really matter, yes, body count does seem to have an impact in whether a woman files for divorce or not. So the research does back that up. The question is, what's high? Do you know the average woman claims, I don't know what you guys think in your experience, but the average woman claims that she's been with less than 5. So that's a broad average. And in the US, for some reason, the studies in the US with the CDC seem to stop at 49. So I think it's good we have this conversation 50 plus, because you had women generally saying that, okay, and that's where women generally fall. And those who were considered high by all the studies, the general number is 9 plus. I would throw out there that I think that number is very conservative. So again, we're going by what people report and what they say. But one of the things that came up there is when you start looking at the cohort, you start looking at when were these women being surveyed and these studies being done. One of the things that was interesting is that, yes, early on in previous decades, a woman who generally had, we'll say 9 plus partners, was going to be more likely to file for divorce. There could be a host of reasons for that. She's already been with a lot of guys. She's maybe less willing to settle, etc. And then what's interesting is now in some of the more recent studies, they're finding that is not necessarily the case. These younger girls may be having a higher 9 plus body count, but they are also seemingly staying married. Go ahead, Derek.
Okay, so when let's put something, and you touched on it just a little bit, but let's put something in perspective. If you got a high body count, what does that mean? You have a relationship of some sort with another individual. So that means you have the discernment, a better discernment as to what you like as an individual. And when you get married and that person is not delivering that, yes, you're more apt to divorce. Why? Because you know it's more options out there. But if you don't know that there's options, you say, well, I guess this is what I have. Back in the 50s and 60s, because that's the way it was. They didn't have the capabilities of seeing more because they didn't have that exposure. So yes, if you're not exposed,
I agree,
then you're going to be subjective to, because your mindset isn't there. That's the same as if you're a person that jumps from job to job to job, you're going to jump from job to job, and you're going to have more experience in the job you get because you're going to bring more to the table, if you will, versus somebody that's been on the job for 18 years and they only got $2 raise for 18 years. And I come on and I'm only been there for every 2 years and 3 years I'm jumping and I'm making $20,000 more than they are doing their job. Yeah. People pay for the experience, but there's also it's a give and take. You have to be able to accommodate the varieties that person's bringing, or you're gonna lose them. Now, if you're gonna be a stick in the mud, well, she's gonna leave you. If you're not talking, communicating, using the effective communication and having that type of dialogue, yeah, you're gonna lose them. But she also, since we're talking about women, have to be willing to have that communication open just as well. It's a two-way street. So when we talk about body count is 100% indicated that they're gonna file for divorce, no, that just means that they have more options mentally and they know a different value set, and that's what they're bringing to the table. And if somebody's not equally yoked for me, I'm moving on. That's how I see it. But don't say it's because of the body count. Could it be? Sure. Yeah, and that's just because with that relationship.
And I think what you touched on is what we were talking about is that mental aspect of all a man can do is control what he brings to the table and really trying to understand that woman's mind on, okay, how am I going to manage this relationship regardless of where she's been? Because I will say, I think on the flip side, which is why we all said the Magic Genie star, we wouldn't want to wife that up. Why? Because she has had a certain set of experiences. And I think what most men would probably say, and I always flip it this way. I've told women who say, well, you know, why does a body count matter to a man? And then I say, well, I think you ladies, let me ask you this. If you found out that every single guy a woman gets with, he says, girl, I love you. Let's get married. And I ask women, how would you feel if you found out that a guy has been engaged 6 times? Well, then isn't him asking me to marry him don't mean nothing. I said, exactly. Exactly. Because the same repulsion that you have that, well, every single chick you think you love, you meet, you get with her, now you want to marry her. So how special is it with me? And I think one of the problems that women bring, they bring the, I want sex to be special. And every dude says, well, if sex is supposed to be special, and you know you're going to make me, especially if she think we some nerdy dudes with glasses, he might be husband material. I'm going to make him wait. And then every dude fears that you're going to make me wait and you're going to make me pay. But when you was with Rollo, you didn't do that with Rollo. So and over 50, that's a constant game women play over 50. They might not do it as much at 20, except for the religious girls, but they definitely do it over 50. Because, you know, you start seeing tattoos on backs and stuff, you already know. It wasn't a whole lot of dudes that dated them for 9 months before they got it.
Or better yet, I got 3 kids and I've been married twice, but I'm gonna wait until my next marriage. Oh, that's over. What you talking about?
Right.
Exactly. Or this one right here. Oh yeah, I got a 16-year-old, a 11-year-old, and a 3-month-old.
And I'm celibate.
Yeah. And I'm not having sex anymore.
And I'm celibate now. Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's that part that I think I do understand the guys. To me, they aren't necessarily, as Derek, as you said a little bit earlier, you think you know what you're selecting for, but you don't even really know what you want. You don't even know what you're looking at. And so you're asking the question about body count is really irrelevant to what you're seeking. And so the things that I did find that came through in the research, you want to know something that really gives you an idea? Because again, if you're truly saying, I just want to know, is this woman going to stay with me in a marriage? With 70% of women filing for divorce, I just want to know, which again, just because she stays doesn't mean that she's going to cheat, and vice versa, because she may stay, but she might be cheating on you. So do you feel better she pair bonded because the only stat we can measure is divorce? You thinking she pair bonded, but you don't know she was running through them at work. You have no idea. But overall, the things that really made a difference, number one, a woman divorcing, here's one for us guys. It seemed to be a U-shaped relationship. Women or people that got married before the age of 25, they got divorced at a higher rate than people who got, if they just delayed marriage, the likelihood of them staying together increased until we get to marriage in the early 30s. Then it goes back up again. There seemed to be a sweet spot from about 27 to 32 that when people get married at that age, at least right now, they appear to stay together longer. So if you want to pick a woman that is going to be more likely to stay with you in pair bond, don't get married before 25 to 27. Don't get married before your mid-20s. Wait. Now, how many of you guys are willing to do that?
And build up your bank. Wait to build up your bank. Become whatever you are in your field. Become the expert in that. Go through that and worry about getting yourself together, get your finances together, and getting your mind together. Because it always starts with your mind.
Yes.
You got to do that first, and that's what if you're looking for a relationship. But if you're like me and not looking for a relationship, oh well, you go find the ones that act that way and show those type of tendencies, and you knock them off and you move on to the next one. But see, that's you got to have a different type of mentality to be able to do that, because you got to understand and realize what you're looking for. And if you don't understand and realize what you're looking for, you're going to have a miserable life. You're going to have to sit down and have a conversation with yourself on what you really want, because you cannot build a relationship with anyone else if you still messed up in your mind and you're still believing and it's in a stupid reality.
Ed, perfect segue, because that was the other thing that played a major role in divorce. Again, here's another one for you. Instead of worrying about whether she's going to stay with you based on her body count, the question is, what is her attachment style? If she is a woman who avoids conversation or avoids conflict, if she hasn't done that work on herself, especially over 50, that becomes very important. That's a greater indicator that she will not stay married to you. See, the problem is, there it is. The problem is we are trying to look at body count in isolation. A lot of women, the reason why they rack up a number of bodies is because they got problems attaching with stuff that was done to them or stuff that they did earlier, etc. And that may lead, and a correlation is the higher body count. So if this is all you focused on, you might miss the big stuff over here. The fact that y'all can't conversate about nothing. The fact that she locks you out and puts you on silent treatment. The fact that she uses sex in order to not even deal with, and when you're mad at her, she feels, let me go ahead and give him some. That'll shut him up. And when she wants something out of you, I'm not going to give him some, and that's going to make him do. Those are the things that have a bigger indicator toward divorce. If she uses substances to numb herself, to isolate, those are the biggest indicators, not her body count. And I got to throw this one in, because everybody, we oftentimes can go ahead and talk about being in church and how there's a lot of folks doing stuff in church. Religion actually did play a role, and it's logical because it's kind of a community thing. You're less likely to get divorced if you got some religious institution, people that obviously they may be married. There are rules, how more a person feels they're supposed to live morally. So they may be less likely to jump out of a marriage. But again, those things are far higher than just focusing on body count if we're talking about divorce.
But even when you talk about the church aspect, you said it initially when you talked about their attachment style. It's what does my friend group look like? Yes. What are they putting in my ear? What are they doing this? And how's this? And so forth. And that plays a very, my friends are single. Well, you're gonna be single soon too.
Yes.
Exactly. Just the way it works,
Exactly.
I mean, you hang out with Ed, what you think is gonna happen? You know what I'm saying?
I don't care.
You're gonna have a ball, baby. I tell you that, but watch out.
Well,
it does go about with who you hang around, who you listen to, that echo chamber. Because you got a bunch of people saying, "Oh, girl, he ain't this, he ain't that," or "You need to do this, you need to do that." What you gonna slide towards? You're going to slide towards that echo chamber, the birds of the feather type of thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's it.
And then also about the body count too. Another reason why I don't care about the body count is because I have friends and family members that's out there, dudes that's out there, and they done knocked off all gracious plenty. So I know with them guys out there, just a few that I know it's more of them out there. More than, I don't want to mention any names, but hey, you know who I'm saying?
You giving shout outs?
Yeah, I'm giving shout outs to them. They get the world championship record. They started me out on my life.
I think we're gonna move into this next topic, but I think the whole point that you guys will really missed in that discussion is simply what we're still wrapping up here. You are never going to know. If there's no way you can prove it. All the things that you think you know, that you look for, is that really what you're seeking? Or when I talked about ego, and Derek said it earlier as well, are you really worried about your ego because you do know that she may have experienced some things that now that may be intimidating to you? And I even know for a lot of guys, again, especially if you come out of the religious side, you may be like, wow, I saved myself. Everything whatever good book that I read, I kept myself from doing a whole lot because my mama told me, boy, don't be out there sleeping around. Don't be having multiple girlfriends. And then you save yourself, and now you're 50. You didn't go ahead and go to a lot of those bachelor parties that your friends were throwing because you didn't want to be unfaithful to your wife. You passed up some opportunities that woman who was flirting with you on the job, and every time she bent over, you saw cleavage for days. And now you realize you're back out in the game, and no woman has rewarded you not one time because you saved yourself. And that hurts because now you meeting them, and well, actually, she probably ain't telling you stories because if you came across as being judgmental, her lips got sealed. She said, I only did it 3 times, and my kid is 12, 8, and 4. That's only 3 times and my husband did it.
Oh man,
I got 3 different baby daddies, and those are the only 3 times I did it. Because as soon as she senses that you're judgmental about her, you're just like the researchers. That number is going to. But when you really understand and talk to a woman, and you realize that may be that aspect of it, like, wow, I saved myself. But no woman is going to reward you for that. I'm sorry to say that. But that still is a value. That's a judgment you make. But if you think you're going to get your reward down here from a woman, you just better wait on white Jesus to give you your reward. Because there's no woman that's going to give you here. Because as Derek said, she's going to be like, there's a reason why we like player men, because they have a certain amount of experience.
Mm-hmm. That's why, as a man, why should you even care? Why should you even care? That shouldn't be part of what's going to be your decision to either be in a relationship or to run out there.
Well, let's put it into perspective. I mean, we have our own personal opinion about what a man, defining what men are on our own categories. And if a man chooses to have that, he has to understand that he's setting himself up for failure and disappointment because if she turns around and do a special move that she learned 20 years ago, the first thing he's gonna say is, where'd you get that from?
Yes.
Right. And things of that sort. And it's just like you're setting yourself up. But you have to know who we always talk about this. You got to know yourself. You got to know your limitations. You got to know what you're comfortable with. And you have to know it before somebody else knows it, because then you're in for a rude awakening. And just know yourself. I mean, we sitting up here with three men, 50 plus. I'm 28. You asked me again. But when it boils down to it, we're talking from our personal experience. As a man, you have to have your own personal experience and know it. Well, we're telling you what we've experienced, but your experience is your experience, and you got to know what your limitations are. I can handle this. I can't handle this.
Yes.
Hey, I'm okay with that magic genie. I'm okay with that version. Whatever. That's on you. You the one that's got to live with it.
Yeah, thank you. I'm just talking about what I do and what I tolerate and the level that I live at, because I can't dictate how you do what you do. If you're looking for a relationship, which I am not looking for a relationship. No.
Disclaimer. Eddie's not looking
for it. Right.
Yeah, I'm not. No. I'll hit you up, but no, none of that type of stuff. I'm not looking to grow old with you. I'm not looking to have puppies and all of that type. No, we're here to have a good time and enjoy each other's company and have fun and be happy. And if that's something that you don't want to do, and complain about this, that, and the other, I know. And us fellas have to understand. Stop being so soft. My goodness, stop being so soft. How many of these doggone younger dudes raised in these single parent households by women that hate men and turn their sons into little punks?
Yeah.
So a lot of that stems from that type of mentality being nailed in these kids' head. We need to go back to the old days. I'm sorry. Old days was better. You go back to the 80s and 90s when the pops and all of them was there, bust you upside the head. Nowadays, everybody too soft. Damn it, take them tight ass pants off.
Well, I mean, I ain't gonna lie. I wish I could find the video, and I'm gonna give props up to CGA on where I saw it. But he played a clip of an older woman, and it's funny. People got their grandparents now, who are in their 70s and 80s, got dementia, and they up there putting them on TikTok and everything else. And in this one video, the girl was asking her mama, was like, "Mama, how did you stay married for 60 plus years and just be with one man?" Now, I gotta say, it's interesting. The woman was like, "How could you just be with one guy?" She's saying that basically she doesn't want to be. But mama looked and was like, "Girl, just because I was married for 60 years don't mean I was only with one man." Yeah. And then another clip, I don't know if it was the same clip or he just pulled them together, but Ed, you made me think about it. It was one of these old school players. And he was talking about, yeah, see, for you, that's your mama. For me, that's just another woman. That's just a chick. He was like, she'd come on down to the juke joint. She didn't have no money to get her favorite song on the jukebox. So I go ahead and give her some money. I had that van with the fifth wheel and the ladder on the back. Now, I know most of y'all thinking fifth wheel, you thinking about a trailer. No, we go into those old box conversion vans that had the wheel on the back of it with the ladder. And he was like, and you know, I know he's like, I like everybody thought I liked February because it was Black History Month. I like February because that was the shortest month. That's when that woman got paid. She got that check and she'd come on over there to me. Bills wouldn't be able to be met. She'd come to me and she'd come on down to the juke joint. And sometimes I'd be mad because I'm getting ready to go in. I'm like, all right, I'm about to go in and get with her. And then I see my homies, or he didn't say homeboy. He said, I see my boy's van up there rocking. And I'm like, he done got her. He done sat up there and got her before I did. What we talk about, Sharon? What we talk about your friend and you got the old dudes are like, hey,
got her before I did, damn it.
You snooze, you lose.
Hey, all I can tell her is she better rinse it out when she come by my crib. Rinse it out.
Range it out.
One thing it shows us too, though, for everybody that's thinking the girls are bad today, hey, grandma did it. You know, because again, to us, that's our mama, that's our grandmama. But to another guy, that was just another woman. So the old dudes had a little bit of, they could separate a little bit. But this, let's jump on this real fast. Because Derek, you made a good point. We talked about the last show. We use a few BDSM terms. We talked about a dominant. We talked about a switch. We talked about a submissive. And I want to jump to that because really what we were talking about with body count is that ability to be more focused about a woman's mind instead of where her body has been. And I think for me, I enjoy a power dynamic type of relationship. I do think that really all relationships have some sort of power dynamic because either you leading or either she's leading. Again, nobody walks up to a door and is like, you go. No, you go. No, you go. Somebody goes through the door, period. When decisions are made in a relationship, somebody is predominantly making the decisions. So, Derek, I'm going to throw it out to you. And you operationally define to you, dominant, switch, submissive. What would you say?
For me?
For you, and especially, let's say guys who are 50 plus, they done saw their wife read the whole 50 Shades of Grey Chronicles. They watched all the movies, and now they single, and they like, what these women are talking about, I'm a submissive. What are these women saying when they say I want a dominant? So how would you define it for the old dudes that may not be up on that?
Well, so for me, I'm a dominant. A dominant is somebody that you can consider yourself as an alpha male, a sigma male, not a beta, not a simp, right? You're taking charge, you're taking leadership, and you know how to make decisions, and you do not hemming and hawing to make those decisions. You know how to make them quick, fast, and if they mess up, you quick to make the adjustment and continue the leading process. Nobody's perfect. That's what a dominant is. So I mean, what?
Then we say a switch. That's a term.
A switch, and
on the clock.
I'm gonna give the best.
See, we got to educate Eddie. We're talking to Eddie right now. Eddie's our target audience.
Yeah, I'm a Fletcher. I teach me. I want to learn. Yeah,
right, Eddie's our target audience right here.
Well, before we talk about a switch, we got to talk about a sub because the switches are between a dominant and a sub, and they know how to switch it off. What?
No, I'm sorry. Go ahead. My bad.
I didn't hear what you said.
I think you said a swinger.
No, machine gun.
We don't want to talk about that on the algorithm, man. They might go ahead.
My bad. My bad.
You were talking about Detroit folks so violent. You Detroit people are just so violent.
A sub or submissive is somebody that follows. That you tell me what to do, and this, that, and the third, and so forth. But now there is actually a misnomer in that when people say the BDSM, actually, who's in charge? The dominant or sub? Eddie, who do you think is in charge?
You asking me?
No, Eddie.
Oh, Eddie. Okay.
In a dominant sub relationship, who do you think is in charge? In the BDSM.
By me being a fledgling, I would say the actual sub would be in charge because that's what they really want from the dom in the first place. So the dom is just being a dom, but the sub is actually getting what they really want. In my mind, that's what I'm thinking.
But are you saying that they're in charge because they get what they want, or they are in charge because they're directing the situation?
Well, I would think the dom will be directing the situation.
The dom just knows how to make it happen and how to implement what's going on, because who has the safe word? The sub. So the sub is the one saying yay, 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 no, 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 green, 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 purple, orange, green, yellow, pineapples. They're the ones dictating the pace of the situation. The dom is just implementing it, and they know what you want. They're saying, hey, I got this menu. What you want? I'm gonna start at spicy and go down to vanilla. And when I get to where you want me, or I'm too high, you scream out your names or your call signals, your safe word. Right.
Okay.
So in essence, the sub is in charge, but it's a mental game. The dom is in charge for all intentional purposes. Hey, come with me. We're gonna go here. I'll open your door. You go in here. You open my door. You do this. I'm giving you the menu that you need to, that I'm gonna do, and you need to follow it. But at the end of the day, it's the sub that actually is in charge. Ultimately.
Okay, I get that, because you can't go in there and just try to knock something out without no permission from it. Okay, I get it.
Absolutely.
Consent.
You gotta have consent, and you gotta be wanting to let me in. You know, I'm like a vampire. You gotta let me in.
Yes.
So
I use that terminology myself. That's why it pays to have things.
I got them too. Yeah,
you go. Exactly. That's why it pays to have things.
If I was in the South, they'll be gold. So
and to round it out between the switches, I can be dominant, or I can let you dominate me in a BDSM.
Okay, well, you know what? I got to do more research on this, because it sounds like this is my cup of tea. Because like I said, I told you guys before, hey, I can be taught, I can be led.
That's why I said you sound like you could be a switch.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I got a Glock too, so I can do all of that. I'm good.
Oh, here we go, messing up the algorithm.
I know, right? Exactly. Going to violence again.
Well, you can edit that part out, man. Edit that part out.
but I mean, but for all intentional purposes, the way it works for BDSM is that there's somebody that's strong, that can lead at least 95% of their time, and then you got somebody that's doing whatever I want. Sometimes for me, I love a submissive, but I don't want somebody that I have to tell everything. I do not want 100% sub. I love the BDSM situation. I can get behind it, whatever.
Let me ask both of you this, because, like I said, I'm trying to learn. So now, okay, I've experienced those type of things, but we didn't put a label on it. We didn't call it BDSM. We didn't call it dom. We didn't call it switch or anything like that. We were just involved in it. I don't know. You know, do you have to have that label on top of it to be considered that? I don't know.
Label is up to you. I mean, if you can be in this situation and never. I mean, if we want to go back to the 50 Shades, she didn't have a label. She wasn't a sub, but she was she was carrying on the characteristics of a sub to a certain degree. But then she would say, "No, I'm not doing it," and he was like, "You making this difficult for me." Well, if you want to be with me, this is how it is. And that's the key, Eddie, to the point of if you're in a BDSM situation, they vary. They're not cookie cutter. They're not cookie cutter.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm a part of the crew then. I'm down.
No. Let's not go that far. No.
Let's close the door. He's like, "Oh, I'm in." Like, you don't get your membership card yet, my friend. You don't get the membership card yet.
You got to pass the test, sir.
You got to get it. And that's why I asked Derek to operationally define it, because as you said, it's a case where it's not the same. It's people that might hear this and they might blow up the comment section like, "That's not it. You guys don't know what you're talking about."
Absolutely.
Because everyone may define it in some different way. That's why I kind of just started out with power dynamics, because people know what they see on the Magic Genie and they're like, "Oh, it must be some floggers and leaving tails red and stuff like that." That's not it. And as you said, you may be in a relationship with a woman, and again, so there is probably a power dynamic going there. I know you, just knowing you as your friend. What do we joke about? You don't want pictures on your fireplace. Now, you might have that as a rule. That is a very dominant position to take. You are telling her, do not put pictures on my fireplace. That may be a dominant behavior. Now, I might not make you a quote unquote dom, and unfortunately, a lot of guys, they do go and say that. They're like, oh, I'm a dom. Well, what makes you a dom? Well, because I do such and such and such. I mean, I go to the gym. Not most 99% of the people are not bodybuilders. People see somebody built and got a nice physique, and they're like, "Oh, they're a bodybuilder." Blah blah blah. No, they're not. Because if you don't put if you don't go on stage, you're not a bodybuilder. But you can work out, and a lot of people may do dominant things, but that doesn't make them a dominant relationship.
Oh, okay. So let me ask you this. Okay, y'all sitting there on the couch watching TV, get hot and heavy. Start off on the couch. You know what? No, forget this couch. We going back here in the room now.
Okay.
Now we about to go back here in the room. We can finish it off on the kitchen counter or something like that if you want to, but we're not gonna stay on here on this couch. But sometimes I'm like, hey, you know what? Let's stay out here on this couch. Well, not me. I'm just asking the question.
Yeah.
You know, there's a line or something, but the labels the part that I don't get.
Well, what the question is,
what are you asking right now?
Right.
Like okay, if I'm using this as if I tell a chick, okay, this is where we're gonna do it at, and this is how we're gonna do it, and she agrees to it, and would that be considered a dom?
Not necessarily, because you just took the lead in that situation. That's
right.
it.
Okay. A dom is somebody that says, you know what, this is what we're gonna do. Period. Now I'm going to present you, and it's true to form when we talk about a menu. I'm going to present you with some options.
Okay.
And I've never done that. So I'm going to run through these options. If you're okay with it and it feels good in the moment, we good. But if you don't, you say these safe words and I'll stop. Now, the situation works best when you have, as Dev said, consent. And you trust each other. Because if I say if she say the safe words and I don't use it, trust is gone, and that situation ain't gonna work.
Okay, a scenario was stop, and then you stop.
But typically, now if you've established that that's a safe, typically stop is not a safe word, because when people say stop, they want you to go on and keep going because that's part of the fantasy.
But
you know what I mean?
But we got to be responsible here on the tubes. If you hear stop, you stop. Let's be responsible.
We're talking about consent that we've agreed that stop doesn't mean stop.
Okay, but this is the thing.
Thank you, Dave.
We're trying to get the channel taken down. You know,
I thought I did that.
Right? Oh, yeah, he did that already.
But when I say that menu, this is the part that the concept that I miss of it. Okay, so you meet this young lady and you present her with an actual physical menu, or do you just run down?
No, this is
are you in the motion of carrying on with it? See, this is the part where I'm not understanding.
Okay, so it's not a again now to the point that we talked before. Some people may have a legitimate menu. I'm just giving you options. Oh, I want to. We talked about 50 Shades. He went through a menu of things, but his was in a contract. I'm going to flog you with this. I'm going to do this. When you come in this room, I need you to be positioned in this and this and this and this. And you have a step-by-step process that you go through. Or you can say, you know what? I'm in the BDSM, and typically bondage, dominance, masochist, sadism, or submission. They got different terms that means, and you're willing to be in those categories. Those terms can be synonymous and so forth. So you have a level of pain associated with pleasure, rewards, and punishments. And that's where the BDSM comes in at. Oh, you must want to get some, get punished. Oh, you want to be spanked. You want to be this. You want to be that. You want to be tied up. There's a level of prescribed punishment and reward associated with BDSM because it's called BDSM, and that's part of the menu. options that you've talked about, you've agreed, you've gotten the consent. Now we're talking about just being leaders and dominant personalities.
Yes.
That's not talking about you about to go choke somebody out using safe words. We're not talking about that. You just got a dominant personality. You know how to just lead. You know, and
okay, well, I got one for you. I got one for you, and he about to do 50 months in jail.
No consent was on that one. I can tell you that
consent,
right
now. Right. If that's where you're going, go ahead.
Okay, no consent. Because that's what I'm saying. Because it sounds like he was doing the same thing, but he didn't have the consent. Okay, I get it.
Well, and we have to be careful with that, because I think we have the case with the baseball pitcher Trevor Bauer. Trevor Bauer had already been in trouble. He had some accusations by some women. And if I remember the story correctly, and he was like more toward the top of his baseball career, and he got some allegations thrown on him. And matter of fact, we could also mention Shannon Sharp, because this is what he ran into, I think, with his girl as well, is that they acted like they had a relationship that had this power dynamic. Trevor Bauer, I think he even had the girl sign contracts. But in the court of public opinion, all she still has to do is come out and say, I was forced to do something. And then once she did that, baseball was just like, you know what? We're done with these allegations. They kicked him out the game. Last I heard, either he's out of baseball, I think he was playing in Japan. Cost this dude millions and millions and millions of dollars. And now, from what I understand, he didn't go to jail. And I was looking for my phone, because one of the funny parts, I'm going to say it's funny, because thankfully the goofy woman actually put it on the internet, or somebody got the video, while she said she was forced to do something as part of these acts that he wanted to do. She was laying, my man must have let one off, because he was out. And then she recorded herself smiling while he was sleeping in bed right next to her. So I think that pretty much made her whole case fall apart, because why you smiling after that? And so that's a perfect example that, yes, if I was a high profile dude, oh man, my stuff would be super duper airtight. One of my rules may be everything gets recorded, everything we do, but that might be my rule. So, but if you're the average guy, and the average guy says, I fear something like that happening, I'm gonna try to keep this rather PG for the channel. What's funny is that, again, the guys that say, I don't want that to happen because a woman might accuse me of blah, 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 blah. But as soon as he is with a woman and she says, hey, slap my butt or whatever, he, pow, he getting into it. Well, what do you think? Because she could turn around and be like, he hit me. And, so men oftentimes fall into those roles anyway without knowing it. I don't know about the dude that's messing with sisters, but, if you mess with another ethnicity, she might be like, pull my hair. You might be pulling hair. And that may be something that's a part of the act. But again, sometimes people already engage in this. They just don't have the labels. I think there is some benefit in having a label, but it depends. And why it's important is, you notice I started with this after the body count. Because again, a lot of guys are worried because they don't have labels. They don't know what they're looking for. And for those men who aren't interested in that kind of power dynamic, then that is where you worry less about body count, because you realize that most men don't discuss these things with the woman. They just have a relationship. And that relationship, she does this, she does that, whatever, and, is it. But in a power dynamic, she may be willing to do some things, go some places, because Derek said, number one, you said consent. Again, folks, don't trip out. Consent. Did I say it enough? Consent. And then trust. So many women don't even have that level of trust with guys. And I do understand when you get mad about body count as well, because it is funny that the same woman that says, I will not, women do this all the time. They'll text their best friend on a date. I'm going to such and such place with this guy because I want to be safe. These guys are crazy out here. I want to be safe. She likes him. He looks good. And she goes home with him to his place. Spreads him like a doggone like the Y. How safe was she really interested in being? Because just as he didn't know anything about where she's been with her body count on signals, what made her assume that he was worthy at trust with her body on a one-night stand? And that may make you upset. And then you probably should be, because that may say something about judgment. But it happens. It happens all the time. So trust, Ed, is a huge element. And a lot of women, they may do some real goofy stuff with a guy that they just met at Starbucks. But when you have now allow that inside of a relationship with a woman, and you combine that leadership with that trust, and you get her consent, you open up parts of that woman that she might not have ever opened up with the other 50 dudes that she was with. Because odds are sometimes the more dudes that she was with, the lower the percentage of men that she actually ever had anything like that with in the first place.
Right.
Which
No
is why
connection.
body count ain't a thing.
Yeah.
That's it. No connection.
And Ed, the situation is when we talk about BDSM, the man has to bring it. The man has to be the one that's showing what this menu is, and knowing if she says, well, you know, I always had this one fantasy of doing X, Y, and Z. You're like, oh, okay, done. And you make it happen. You know, whatever. And then sometimes we talk about being that one trick pony. You have to be able to be able, if you can learn her body better than she knows it, you got it.
Man, that's a beautiful thing. That is a beautiful thing. That's one of the things that brothers need to lock on there. Learn their body like Braille. And once you unlock
like
that,
Braille, I like that.
Once it's unlocked, man.
Well, married guys got to use Braille because their wives don't want the lights on. Y'all know y'all over 50 dudes, them lights are out, and you just feeling and you hadn't seen her naked since she was 25.
Right. Now before we even talked about, you know, you take over her mind and the body's gonna follow. That's the same principle, similar principle. You learn that body and she trusts you enough to have that body, and you got that mind, she'll follow you wherever you want her to go.
And the only way you can really learn that body is to also massage that mind. That's the only way you can truly know that body, because if you don't know her mind and know what a ugly face or that type of, if you don't know that type of stuff, then it's not going to work out.
Or she turned, and you know that look when she turned around and look at you hitting it from behind, and she like, what you doing back there?
Oh my goodness, that's the one. That's the one you're looking for. I'm sorry. See, y'all like focusing on relationships. I just don't believe in relationships right now. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I'd have got to the point where a relationship is not going to make me happy.
Well, I'm gonna hip you to something, Eddie. When you out there with the women and you don't have the title, you still doing a relationship type thing. Just saying.
Yeah. Oh, pretty much. I don't mind paying for it either.
That's gonna be a topic for a whole other show for sure.
Well, we pay for it one way or another, directly.
One way or another. Hey, either you're gonna make a car payment or you're gonna make car repairs. It's the same thing to
me. and you know, Eddie, again, we're gonna definitely talk about that on another show for sure. Because I think
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to jump the gun, man.
No, that's all right. Because I think again, for a guy that's 50 plus, depending on his income level. We talked about consent. We talked about some things you don't have to worry about. Again, if you are one of those men that you're an athlete or something and you bringing in that kind of money, I think that's an option that you should definitely consider having. Because like Derek said, we all pay. Now let me jump real fast on let me show you guys this video. Because
is the volume up on this one?
There's a heaven. Someone's opening the door for me. Are you? I'm opening the door for you right now. Right now. You was just open. What do you mean do it right? You just a friend. You just a friendly. You so friendly. I don't like how you talking to me because you're man. But you're not gonna try to embarrass me in public. Everybody see us. It was real simple. No, don't make me mad. Don't make you mad. It's the first day and you're getting upset because I opened the door for 3 others. What did you say? It was 3. It should have been only me. You know what? I'm gonna go watch a movie. You don't have to do anything. Matter of fact, you open the door yourself. How about that?
Now, fair use, because I don't want them tripping on the music. Somebody added music in there, and I might just have to run this again without the music. But, you know, Derek, what say you on that kind of incident? Was that guy, that was his supposedly first date. Would you consider that guy a bit of a dominant guy? Do you think a power relationship or power dynamic with a woman off the rip would help? What would you say about that video in light of what we're talking about?
Now, let me put this disclaimer out there. I literally ran into a woman that did that exact same thing when I opened the door for a lady that had 3 kids. Huh?
I want to hold my hands and my feet up. I had the same experience. Go ahead.
Wow. Yeah. First date. This was in Atlanta. First date. She was like, why you open up the door to fire? Well, she had her hands full. But this, and this. well, she the one that had all them kids. That's her problem. I said,
Whoa.
you know what? You are single for a reason. I already can see it, like Brother Man did. But yeah, I mean, oh no, but that's a sign of on day one you're supposed to just automatic. No, that even even if we are married, if you're the kind of woman that says it's all about me and nobody else and this and the other, and I can't be me, genuinely care about others just for the sake of just simple courtesy. I'm not trying to get a phone number and doing this. I'm just opening the door. It's not that serious. Not that serious. That's no different from when you drive it and somebody don't merge in. You're supposed to do the zipper. You know what I'm saying? No, I'm going. I'm going for mine. It's not even that serious. And if you're that kind of woman, you're selfish.
Ignorant.
I ain't got time for it. Like Brother Man said, I'm going to go see a movie by myself.
Yep. Ignorance and immature.
So when it comes down to, it's not a matter to Deb, to answer your question, in that scenario, it's not a matter of who's in charge. It's a matter of your boundaries, personal boundaries. And personally, I don't tolerate that because I know we talk about it. What's that sandwich?
Peace.
Peace sandwich. Always.
She not bringing peace already.
Yep.
Next.
Yep.
Let me go catch up with them two I just opened the door for. Maybe they can provide me with better peace than you did.
Yep.
You said Eddie happened to you? Oh, go ahead.
Yeah.
Oh, you know. Go ahead.
Yep. It happened to me. We were walking into a restaurant, same deal. We was walking in there and it was a couple. And it was actually two women. It was a guy and two girls. They were I held the door for all of them. Oh, well, ain't you just Mr. Friendly, Mr. Doorman? I'm like, hold on, wait a minute. You said what now? Yeah, you holding the door for people like you, the doorman. You didn't hold the door for me. You didn't walk up to the door first. I just happened to walk up to the door first, and you was that I let them go through first. So that way I can touch the small of your back because I walked you through the door. But no, you didn't want me to do that. You wanted me. You want to have this argument about why I held the door for them. Now I should have did like my man did and told her, peace, I'm about to go in here. Nope, I ignored it like an idiot. Went in there, sat down, had the food. She was rude to the waitress. So after that, I said, you know what? I don't think this is going to work out. And like you said, first date, I said, I don't think this is going to work out. I said, I'm going to take care of this bill. Then after that, I don't want to talk to you anymore. Who do you think you are? You think you such and such? You know what? Now I'm not even taking care of the bill. Goodbye. Find a way home.
Yeah, it is. Okay.
And I'm sorry. And that's just the way I am. I'm no nonsense. I can't tolerate that because you're not giving me that peace sandwich.
Yes, indeed. But perspective, that's not our first choice. We had to learn to be this way.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Yes. And you see, I still fumbled the ball on the first play because I allowed her to go into the restaurant with me, and still she showed her butt. She showed her natural behind. Yep. And I said, you know what? And she would not let up till I had to say, you know what? That's it. So as far as the dominance go, to me, my definition of dominance is you can't tolerate that disrespect to, oh man, I'm a loss for words now, to your standards.
Well, those are two different things as far as I would be concerned. I would say that those are personal boundaries because even a sub can have those same boundaries. Right. So when we talk about a dom sub, it requires someone else. These are boundaries that are just yours. Doesn't matter who comes in. I'm not tolerating it, like you said. That has nothing to do with being dominant. And don't get that twisted. It's just boundaries. You know, hey, maybe as a boundary.
Now, what about the respect? Now, what about the respect part of it also?
But that's your personal respect. That's your boundary. You know, when we talk about, remember, BDSM requires another person. You can't be a BD. Oh, I'm gonna beat you. Are you gonna beat me? Yeah, me, myself, and I are gonna beat you, Mr. Me and I. It's only you. You cannot be in a BDSM relationship by yourself. But boundaries are your personal guidelines as to I'm gonna stay on this road versus that road. I'm not going to allow this versus that. Just personal boundaries.
Yes.
It has nothing to do with being a dom, sub, switch, nothing. Oh no, I don't do those. Those, as they call it, that's a hard pass because those are my individual boundaries.
And that's why we always go back men to, you have to know yourself. For me, if I would have had that exchange with a woman, first date, right then and there, I would have took her home, because I know me. And one thing that I now have to calibrate after being married for nearly 3 decades, I cut quick. I cut as quick as you cut somebody that came to the practice camp, and you know that it was like, you a free agent. I don't really want you here anyway. So if I throw you a pass and you drop it, yep, put the tag in their locker, gone. Well, coach, give me another. You know what? It's other draft picks that I already made. I don't have to just select you. And now that doesn't mean, here's the key thing, and I think Derek touched on it. That doesn't mean that that's not a good receiver. That's not a receiver for me, because I, at my age, at 55, I'm not willing to teach them how I want the ball caught. Exactly. I've told my sons this. I look at a woman, she is running my playbook, because I am, we'll just say, a dominant person. And I am the dominant one in a relationship with any woman. She has to run my plays. And if I see that she is that lost on the first date, I can't do nothing with you. I don't want to do anything with you. Now, somebody else may, though, and that's fine for them. But I don't want to put the work in for you to run my plays. I don't care how fine you are. I don't care how fine you are. You're not going to run my plays. I can bring another QB in here to run my plays, because it's about my system. And I have to know what my system is to know how I want a woman to run it.
Yes, sir.
And a lot of us guys don't know what our system even is, because what do I always say? We are 50, dating like we're 15. We just happy to be there. If that chick was super duper fine and she was a baddie and a dime piece, these ladies know they can pretty much do and say. It's like the Cheesecake Factory woman that put that dude on blast online some years ago. If she's so fine, she can get away with stuff like that. I remember that Cheesecake Factory video. I'm just like, why are you talking to her so much? Hey, what's this conversation even? It would have been a boring video, because that video would have ended like 1 minute with me. It's like, well, you got me at the Cheesecake Factory. Actually, I don't have you nowhere. You can go actually eat some of the trash off this parking lot if you want to. You know, I'm taking you home.
That's the mistake that I made. That's the mistake that I made. She was so fine. I'm gonna give her another chance and another chance, until the point where I'm not even taking you home. She got me so pulled out of my happiness, I don't even want to look at you anymore, so I'm gone. But if I just stuck to who I really was and just took her to the crib, it wouldn't have been none of that. It wouldn't have been any issues or windows getting bust out and all that type of stuff.
And I'm go ahead, Derek.
No, I'm sorry. It's one of the things to also keep in mind is, Eddie, to your point, it's not a matter of being able to make that first choice right off and not fumble. The ideal is, okay, well, let's talk about it. Let's see what's going on here. Maybe they're joking. Maybe they're not. Maybe they're just, this is a conversation piece, blah, blah, blah. But let's dive a little deeper and see where things are. It's not a matter of fumbling, but when you find out that this person isn't for me, as a man, to your point, I don't care how fine you look. I know my boundaries, and I am looking and seeking peace in my life. And I know right off, that's not it.
For sure.
Man, for sure. I had a woman once tell me that basically good-looking guys are a-holes. Now, I was kind of flattered. I guess she threw me in that camp. I don't put myself in that camp, but thank you. You know, hey, there's always somebody better. But because she said they're a-holes, and I said, well, why? And she said, basically, because they feel like they can just toss you aside and go get somebody else. Now, I understood kind of what she was saying, but I thought that admitted a lot as well. Because at first I'm like, well, isn't that what women do? I mean, because woman knows she can dial, or shall I say now, do this, and she got 70 dudes that'll come running through. So a good-looking guy, if he has those options, what, are you mad that he can exercise the same options that you can? But my point was, it's not a good-looking guy. We don't have to be a good-looking guy to have boundaries and standards. And every man, Eddie, I think you, after you've gone through that, you may have, and again, that may be cool for you, because there have been some ladies that did do or say some things that I did let slide. But again, I know me. I know where I came from. I'll say nobody slid as much on me as my ex did. So, and then I can go to even ex-girlfriends. So for me, I never want to go back to that. as I call it, the Dev 1.0 guy. I never want to go back to that dude. So I'm already making sure I keep him at bay because I can turn into Mr. Nice Guy, my Sherry. You know, it's easy.
Don't ever do that again. No.
Yeah, please don't.
Exactly.
Hey, but I want to go back.
Do that again.
I want to go back to what you said about being an a-hole and a good-looking dude. Wait a minute, I must be a good-looking dude because I've been called an a-hole plenty of times.
Hey, I look at it as a term of the pyramid.
Be fantastic.
Like I said, when you hear you narcissist, it's like because she knows that he's a narcissist. Why? Because this dude got boundaries. He ain't playing. Now, there are people with narcissistic tendencies. I've done videos on that. You'll look them up on the channel. But a lot of women will assume that because you do have those boundaries. And I want every guy to be comfortable with just having his boundaries. It doesn't make you a dom. It may not, but the question is, who are you? And I want to throw one more thing. You mentioned respect. Yeah. My coach made a great point to me. And it was something that happened between me and my girl. And I was like, she disrespected me. He was like, really? What's respect? He was like, so if you got pulled over for speeding, would the police officer walk up to the side of your car and be like, you disrespected the law? They don't say that. They say you broke the law. That woman that was out with that dude, we can't really say she disrespected him because was there a rule, a law, or anything? She showed who she was. He had a chance to make it a rule and be like, don't you ever say anything about who I let go in this door first. Now, and he could have went ahead and might have had a good evening because she probably would have got a little wet if he would have talked to her like that. To me, he still did too much talking. But
yeah, pretty much.
But you know, that is a way if he would have chose to, he could have said, this is a law and a rule now. And then if she does it again, she now broke the law. That is more of a form of disrespect. Because again, if the chick is used to acting that way with other men, especially the first date, they're going to do the same thing to us. Because they're used to other dudes, especially if they are baddie, doing that same thing.
Yeah, 100.
And we talk about, well, we don't talk about, but one of the things that we need to understand is disrespect is subjective.
Yes.
It's not etched in stone. Just like fear is subjective. Fear is a choice. People don't get that, don't realize that you can choose to have fear, period. And I say it's a choice because not everybody has it. Not everybody has a choice. I guess his camera went out, or he's still on. But you know, so everybody has that choice, and so it's just a matter of, hey, I choose not to do that. Disrespect. Yeah. Nobody knows that it's disrespect unless you've already told. It's like loitering. If you're lingering around here and you're trespassing, because first I told you not to be here. Now, as Dev pointed out, now you broke the law. Now it's a different form. So once you've established those types of things, now you can say it's disrespect.
I agree with your whole point. Once those rules are established and someone steps on those rules, then that to me that's what disrespect is. Now, in the beginning, and you haven't established those rules, and you haven't had those conversations, okay, there's a break-in period. But if you see it constantly, constantly happening, that's disrespectful.
Oh yeah.
That's disrespectful, and they don't really care about what you really want.
Exactly. But again, back to setting your boundaries and making the boundaries known. If you don't let them know, then who's going to know?
Yeah.
I didn't know the road ended right there. You know, because your road is a two-way street. Your road ended, mine didn't. I don't know where you are. Let's be on the same page. So if you can't, you have to be willing to express that. And if you're not willing to tell somebody who you are, then you expect them to walk all over you.
But see, how can someone tell someone else who they are and they really don't know who they are?
And that's why I say key right there.
The key is so important to know, men of any age, is to know who you are. Yes. And it's gonna come with experience, and it's gonna come with time. So you have to know who you are and be honest about it. You can't lie to yourself. Like you said, me, myself, and I. Well, what you gonna lie to yourself for? You already know the truth.
Exactly. Yes, indeed. So it's just a matter of making sure you've established. I mean, I'm not a fan of communication. I'm 100% fan of effective communication.
Yes, there we go. Yes.
That's it.
There we go.
That's it.
You know, and we you got to be able to communicate. No, I can talk now to be effective communication, that means somebody has to be also effectively what? Listening.
Yes.
Yep. And
And then
willing to take it in. Yes.
exactly. So if you can't listen, hopefully this don't get out, but I'm gonna speak it anyway. I know somebody that says, you know what, I'm certified to be a moderator and a mediator for different groups. My first thought was, yeah, you got a certification, but you're not a good moderator or mediator. Why? Because you cannot effectively listen. You're too busy trying to talk and move on to this and this, and you didn't hear a thing I said or anybody else. And you have piss poor follow-up skills. So how can you moderate and mediate anything when you don't even know what we're talking about?
Well, and Derek, I think that's why dudes, you know, I don't want to call out no dudes because somebody might be like, you're a fake dom. Because again, it's all subjective. But so many men that, you know, a woman says she's looking for a dom. So many dudes claim that because they might be the type of dude that's, I'm going to tell her what to do. But as you said, are you really leading her? If most of the stuff you're always telling her what to do, you're trying to force her into submission.
Exactly.
You don't listen to a thing that she says. You don't know nothing about her because you always talking about yourself, or you always trying to force something. And this is why, especially a lot of religious women, they are definitely against the term submission. Now, let me tell you, it's a lovely thing when your woman just adores submitting. But you have to foster that environment. And if you always going at her, I'm gonna make you do, you know, you are that stereotypical
That trust, like Derek said, that trust.
That's it. You're trying to force something, but it's like that again, that old joke where, yeah, she may be, you telling her to sit, she may be sitting on the outside, but she's standing on the inside. What is a lovely thing is when she is like, I am so glad you asked me to sit. I would love to sit for you, daddy. That is something that most men don't know about.
Right. Now, one of the things that's crucial, this is in a work environment and this is personally, the difference between power and authority.
Yeah. There we go.
Authority, you got a title that says whatever I say goes. Power is you have the ability to be persuasive, and people are going to listen to you because they trust that you have their best interest. Power comes with trust. Trust is there. Authority, yeah, you just a title. I don't have a choice but to follow you, even if that means whatever. And that's back at the job. And when we talk about BDSM, they have the power over you, not the authority over you, because they trust that you're going to lead them in the right direction. And that's back to when we talk about a dominant man, whether it's in the BDSM or not, or someone that takes charge, it's a matter of they have the power to do these things because the significant other or the person they're with trusts them enough to allow them to lead, because I'm giving you permission to lead me, as opposed to, like you said, well, you better do this, you better. No, that's you trying to take authority over me. Yeah, no, this no more mentality is gone. You know, that back in the day when we get the chains and whatnot.
Well, and the religious guys, which is why so many women in the church are so against that, the religious guys tried to say, well, the Bible gives me the authority to tell you what to do. And so I find what's really ironic is that while most religious guys wouldn't even want to look at this type of power dynamic, they think they have it. But what they're trying to do is force obedience, which is interesting because God doesn't even force obedience upon us. So how you going to force obedience on your wife? Or now that you out here dating, how are you going to force obedience on a woman? Because there are dudes early on going out on first dates with a woman talking about, well, you know, the Bible says in Ephesians that you're supposed to be submissive to me. And she's like, fool, who are you? But you know what's a great thing is when a woman senses your personality and she trusts you. She talks to you on that first date and she automatically takes a submissive posture. Not to compare anybody with dogs, women, I ain't comparing you with dogs, but you know, if you watch some dogs don't have to necessarily show their teeth. Sometimes it's just the presence, and the other dogs be like, you got it. You got it. And when you foster that out of a woman, not because of you, again, gonna pull some hair, you know, consent is important. If she wants you to pull your hair, that's different. But not because you walking in threatening, you know.
I love these disclaimers.
Yeah, the guy had a disclaimer. Consent is always important. But it's because it fosters that out of her because so many women are clamoring for it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna have to go, guys. I had a female that she would speak about her ex, and she said he would get mad and turn into the Incredible Hulk and tear things up and rip things and cuss and fuss. And she didn't respect him. She was afraid of him.
Yes.
She was afraid of him. But while he was doing all that cussing and fussing and stomping and tearing up stuff, she was coming to see me to get peace. So guys have to understand, you can't be I don't know, I don't want to use you guys' terms, but you can't be like a dominant and you don't know what you are, and you can't do that by forcing people to do something.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
That's it.
Right.
All right.
Go, if you want to be the Incredible Hulk, then go ahead and be the Incredible Hulk. But other than that, I'm gonna be the one that comes behind and be Dr. David Banner.
And to be honest, I think that's been the problem with the OGs that we talked about. A lot of the OGs did want to turn into the Incredible Hulk. They want to go ahead and raise hands and stuff like that on a woman. And I can say now, when you start talking, and I talk to women 60 and 70 years old, and now you are hearing these women, they were never submissive to those men. Even, sorry to say it, guys, some of you evangelical church moms that you have, she's never really submitted to her husband. You thought she was because she might have stayed at home, she might have cooked, whatever. She was obedient to her husband because he was, I'm going to do you better, do you butter. But she never truly submitted to him. And a lot of ladies know what I'm talking about because you know how your mama talk about your daddy behind your daddy's back.
Hello.
And she tell you, girl, don't get no marriage. I mean, me and your daddy made it because we don't believe in divorce, but don't make the same mistakes I'd made. You know, you always got to stash you a little bit of money in your nest egg in case you got to leave. And so on that note, Eddie, I know you said you got to go. It was one more video I was going to show, but I'm going to save it for next time.
Okay.
Any parting words before we go, gentlemen?
No, just you know. Eddie, go ahead.
Hey, I'm gonna say this, man, and that's it. Fellas, know yourself. Be true to yourself.
Yep. Absolutely. And my parting words is, understand that there is a different dynamic between being a dominant and dominating. One is power, and you got to have that permission and versus authority where you're trying to take it. If power and permission means that she is giving you, or your significant other is giving you the trust that they have to lead them in a proper way that they're comfortable and feel safe. When they don't have that level of safety, they're out. They've checked out. You can call yourself whatever you want to. They don't call you that, and you have your level of boundaries.
Good stuff, man. Yeah.
I'll say my words, Eddie. If you got to run, man, appreciate it as always, brother.
Well, hey, I can stay for your words, Devo.
Okay,
you invited me on the show, so hey, I can't be
I know we gotta
run.
go.
I can't fill my head up with knowledge and run away from it.
No, you know we always be like, I'm only gonna do an hour, and y'all see how long we've been going. But that's good. We had time.
Well, we got some editing to go on in here because I said some bad stuff. So
no, I ain't gonna worry about it. We'll see what happens. But no, guys, my parting words is really just more of what these guys said. We talked about some relationship things, and I think it's still all part of the Iron Father brand because, again, I'm talking to men who are still in a marriage and they may still be struggling with leading their wife. And again, they may be worried she's about to divorce me because some of the dynamics you've been trying to force her to stay with you. You've been trying to force her to submit to you. But really, you're trying to force obedience. And now she knows she can go see the lawyer, take half of your stuff. She ain't got to do nothing you talking about doing. You're talking about she disrespected me. Well, what did she really disrespect about you? Y'all been married 20 years. What did she really disrespect? Because you haven't led her in any way. So I hope we gave you some practical tips that you can use. And this is for the married guys. For the other guys, we done talked about body count and everything else. Again, we're talking about being over 50. We're trying to just talk about the reality. If you're 20 years old, you can't feel what we're talking about. Quite honestly, if you're 30 or you're 40, you're probably getting it because you're meeting women who are divorced now, I assume. But if you're 20 and 30, you don't get what we're talking about. But I'm going to ask you, like I used to always tell my kids, just put it in your backpack. And maybe something the OG said now will be something that can relate to you in the future. Lastly, I'm always got to throw in, get your body together because that's going to help you. Contact me if you need some training. I always start with that as being the foundation because first of all, you have to be able to discipline yourself, put boundaries on yourself. A lot of you, your confidence, what do you say, Ed? It's called self-esteem. A lot. Your self-esteem is jacked up because of what you see in the mirror. So you feel like, how can I ask her to do anything? Contact me. Let's get that going. Please share this video with some other guys that may be able to benefit from it. The like doesn't cost you anything. It helps us in the algorithm. Because to be honest, guys, and even ladies, this type of information, somebody talking real, is not really going to be shared. They're not going to spread this. So please do it, and please share it with someone else that could benefit from it. And lastly, check out the podcast. I was talking to a guy that came over to do some work at the house, and I told him about it, and he said, "Well, do you have a podcast?" I'm like, "Yeah, I do. I just never talk about it." Iron Father Radio. Look for that. I'll have the link in the description. And that way, I know everybody's not going to be able to listen to hour-plus long YouTube videos. So go ahead and put the podcast in, and wherever you're rolling, go ahead and play it. But at the end of the day, all three of us are just about men being better men. And I'm telling you, I know you guys are struggling. I know you guys are struggling because I'm in men's groups. I see the dialogue, and I read my comment section, as y'all can see. So we're out here to help you be better. If you got any show topics that you want us to go ahead and touch on, because on the roundtable, we tend to keep it among dating and relationships, while I leave the other stuff a little bit more on some of the solo videos that I do. So let us know. As you see, I'll read some of the comments, and we'll even give a rebuttal to them. So with that, we're going to close it out. Fellas, I appreciate y'all. And until next time, because we're going to continue this discussion. I got some videos. I was about to tee one up. Little teaser here. There was a woman talking about submission. She was on a show where basically she had the one dude over there, and her husband was fighting to get stay married with her. And she was like, "I'm with that dude because, he tears it up in bed with me." And that dude was crushed. That'll be the teaser for next time. So fellas, all right, I will holler at y'all later. Until y'all next time, I'll talk to y'all next time on the next video. Peace.
Peace.